Hi friends, welcome to Crack Grade B. I am back with yet another lecture that is again very important for your upcoming examination, that is NABARD Grade A. Okay, so the topic is rural development. So what is rural development? How did it came into existence, right? So was development not enough so that you will Hi friends, welcome to Crack Grade B. I am back with yet another lecture. This is very important for your upcoming examination, that is NABARD Grade A, right? So the topic reads rural development. So let me ask you a question before we begin into the lecture. Was the definition of development not enough so that a new chapter into the development was added, that is known as rural development, right? So before we start this lecture, we should ask this question to ourselves. Only then it will become easy for us to identify and learn this rural development topic, right? So this topic covers a wide spectrum of things, right? When you say development, that means everything, right? Everything that is required for a sustainable and inclusive growth, sustainable and inclusive good towards the society, right? So what is rural development? Let's go back to history and see how did this came into existence. So again, let us get into the background, but let us also see what rural development meant 5 decades back, means when India got independence, right? So at that time, so during 60s, during 70s and maybe during 50s as well, rural development means agriculture production. At that time they were thinking that if you uplift the agricultural productivity, the entire solution to this problem is solved, right? And with this they were thinking about industrialization. How these are linked? Understand, industries are way more dependent into the agriculture, right? So they need many things from the agriculture produce to survive. So during that time, the definition of rural development was like that: if if agriculture productivity is being uplifted, it will eventually support industrialization because the raw material is coming from the agricultural produce. Okay, so this will combine and solve all your problem and will be called as rural development. So this was the definition back then, but this does not hold true in its own sense, right? Just by uplifting agriculture, it won't solve the problem of rural development. So what is the problem? When we say that, let's then look at what actually happened in 1957, in January 1957. Okay, in January 1957, Government of India has formed a committee, right, to look after community development program in 1952, right? So this has started in 1952, and National Extension Service, that is started in 1953, right? So Government of India formed a new committee to look into these two programs, right? Then who was the chairman? The chairman was Balwant Raj G Mehta. Okay, under the chairmanship of Balwant Raj G Mehta. Then this committee submitted its reports on November 1957. What they have recommended? Two most important thing that was used in the report was democratic decentralization. That also means Panchayati Raj. So what do you mean by democratic decentralization, right? So everything, if the Prime Minister, everything is being looked after by the Union of India, the head of the Union of India, then many things, many problems will not be visible from that level, right? So what this committee told, that there should be democratic decentralization, means there should be some task that union should do, then there should be some task that state head should do. Then there would be some task that should be done at the grassroots level by the help of Panchayati Raj. So this was the first committee that said about Panchayati Raj and democratic decentralization about it. Then this was also called rural development, right? So what is rural development? First of all, what is rural? So rural means the villages. Rural doesn't mean towns, cities, like rural means villages. So when the people at that grassroots level afflicts their economic status, obviously the entire economy will get a boost from there, right? And this report used this term for the very first time, democratic decentralization and Panchayati Raj. So the need was felt in 1957. Then let's look at more recommendation by this committee. This committee has said that there should be 3 levels. The number 1 level should be at district level, that should be known as Jilla Parishad. Number 2 level is Panchayat Samiti at block level. Then there should be Gram Panchayat at village level, right? So the committee said there should be 3 levels of Panchayati Raj, right? And it should be Gram Panchayat should be in village level, Panchayat Samiti should be in block level, and Jilla Parishad at district level. Now, who should be the head? So in Jilla Parishad, there should be indirect elected members, and in Panchayat Samiti as well, there should be indirect elected members, but in Gram Sabha, there should be direct elected members, like we have with CM and PM. Again, in Gram Panchayat, the committee said there should be direct elected member. Okay, so these people should work hand to hand for development. Only then the definition of rural development is going to realize in reality. Then let's move forward and see, this committee has also said that all planning activity should be given to all these 3 levels, means they should be planning at what is required, what level of problem is there, and what should be the solution to it. It should be decided by this Panchayati Raj. Okay, but who is the head at this level? Panchayat Samiti should be the executive body, right? So Panchayat Samiti at block level should be the executive body. Then Jilla Parishad should be the advisory and coordinating and supervisory body. So Jilla Parishad, among all these 3, Jilla Parishad will be the supervisory body, right? DM should be the chairman of Jilla Parishad. DM means district magistrate or the collector of that particular district. An IAS officer should be the head of this Panchayati Raj. He or she should supervise the Panchayati Raj, and all the planning activities at the grassroots level should be taken care of by this bodies. Okay, so this was the highlights of the report submitted back in 1957. From 1957, the actual definition of rural development came into picture. The need was felt much before then. Let's move forward. What happened in 1958? In 1958, National Development Council did not insist on a single rigid pattern and left it to the state to evolve their own pattern suitable to the local condition. The committee has said that you have seen in last slide. So the National Development Council, what they said, that we should not make this law uniform for all the states. Let the state decide its own structure. This is what they said, because see, problem in every state differs, right? If you see Himachal Pradesh, right? So building a road in Himachal Pradesh would be very tough. The last mile connectivity, why I said road is last mile connectivity, because when you cannot connect with the people, right, you cannot realize the dream of bringing them out of poverty, because they will not have access to good education, they will not have access to many of the important health, right? So access to road is again an important. So many other aspects as well, but I just mentioned the example of road. So look at the terrain the Himachal Pradesh have, Uttarakhand, building roads there are very tough, right? But if you see in central India, any of the region, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, Odisha, building roads is easy, right? The terrain is not so tough. There maximum terrains are mountains, but here it's plain land, right? So this is again a problem of rural development, because if you cannot connect the last mile people in your state, you cannot achieve the dream of realizing actual rural development, right? So in that context, this National Development Council in January 1957 said that every state should evolve their own structure according to their need, right? So that is what they said. Again, that's good. Then Rajasthan became the first state to establish Panchayati Raj, okay? Then followed by Andhra Pradesh in 1957. Andhra Pradesh was the second state. There are many, then after many states came with their own version of Panchayati Raj, and they have amended that from time to time. So let's not discuss that. That is something related to political science, but we are learning economic and social issue. So some state even adopted Nyay Panchayat with judicial power to try petty civil and criminal cases. Look, for a rural development, proper rural development, there should be proper justice to the people. Only then people can be happy, right? And without happiness, the development cannot be realized. So again, this is an important aspect. That is why I have highlighted some state even adopted Nyay Panchayat. Every state doesn't have it. Some state where at the panchayat level they have the judicial power to try some petty and criminal cases, right? Now let's move ahead. So many study teams and committee was formed to examine the differences of functioning from 1960 to 1976. Like many committees and study groups have been formed since then. Okay. So many study teams and committee formed. Let's see some of them. Ashok Mehta Committee 1977, GVK Rao Committee 1985, LM Singhvi Committee 1986, Tangen Committee 1988. Right. All they have recommended some or the other version of Panchayati Raj, but the actual Panchayati Raj came from a constitutional amendment, that is 73rd Amendment, right? Panchayati Raj Act in 1992. 1992, the 73rd Amendment, Panchayati Raj Amendment. Okay. Now let us move forward now. Now we know what the background is. How did the rural development evolve? Right now we have Panchayati Raj in existence, right? So every state has their own version of Panchayati Raj. Now what is rural development, right? So let's see two of the important terms, rural development and inclusive rural development. What do you think the difference between rural development and inclusive rural development, right? Just now I gave an example of road, right? I had a reason then, I am telling you now. So let's suppose there is a village, and mostly every village are people in the village are mostly dependent on agriculture, right? Even today, if you see, the data says around 60% people in the village. So overall in India there are multiple villages, and if you see a particular village, more than 60% people in the village are into agriculture or agriculture allied services, right? So their primary source of income is completely dependent on the agriculture and its allied services. So even there are many villages where you will find 100% people are into agriculture or its allied service, right? So that is the important context that we have to see, right? Now what is difference between rural development? I have written verses, right? Rural development and inclusive rural development. Now see, if you build a road, but If you do not build a school, a healthcare facility, right, what is going to happen? People will be grown economically, but there would not be education, there would not be any good health. So that is not sustainable for so long, right? So if the government want a rural development, the actual rural development, it should happen through the inclusive rural development, right? Means every aspect of the rural problem should be taken care of. What kind of? So there are problems like poverty, right? There are problems like education, there are problems like healthcare, access to healthcare, last mile connectivity, etc. So that's inclusive development, right? So it is not about just the human aspect of it. So you bring people out of poverty, that's fine, that's enough. No, absolutely not. You will have to make sure that people have access to good healthcare facility. The children on the villages should have access to good education, right? Not only school. After school, they should have an access for reskilling themselves, that is being required by the industry for job. So that is known as inclusive rural development. Means not limited to one aspect, but it's multidisciplinary, many aspects, right? So when I say that, this does means that rural development consists of many things. So if I have to sum up rural development, I will have to sum up through what's poverty, what's education, what's healthcare, what's last mile connectivity through roads, right? But that cannot be possible in one lecture. So comment section is a big tool. Do mention what you need next. I will be there with you with the same topic, but I need comments, else how would I know? Then let's move forward. Inclusive rural development, how this is done, right? So this is done using three important dimensions. The first one being the economic dimension, right? Economic dimension. The second one is social dimension. Then the third one is political dimension. All three dimensions, if they are working as I have shown, if they are working in hand to hand, in gears, it will be synchronized and sustainable inclusive development, right? Now, what is the dimension that covers economic? Economic means people should be employed, right? Either they should have their own land. If they don't have their own land, what will they do? They should be giving some elite services. What if they are not able to do that elite services? I mean, they do not have that particular skill. What should they do? So there has to be some or the other program through the government by which they are employed, right? Absolutely, any program cannot bring people out of poverty in a decade. That requires longer time, right? So economic dimension is important. So what people cannot do should not be done by the government, but it should be supported by the government through multiple schemes that we are going to see in upcoming lecture. Then the social aspect. What is the social aspect? There should be proper sanitation facility. There should be proper drinking water, clean drinking water facility. Everything is required, right? So that's known as rural infrastructure. There should be electricity. So that this social dimension covers that aspect, right? Then political. Yes, again you have seen Gram Panchayat. Who is the head of Gram Panchayat? The elected member. So the elected member should be able to identify and understand the problem that that particular village has and able to plan the plannings accordingly, so that people are supported by the economic upliftment and social upliftment, right, through infrastructure development and through government schemes, benefits of government schemes, right? Now let's move ahead and see some of the aspects of it. So inclusive rural development will include improve the living standard by providing food, shelter, clothing, employment and education, right? Food, see, this doesn't mean that government should provide food, government should provide shelter, absolutely no. But you will have to think that government should support people so that they can work and sustain their own food, shelter, clothing, employment, education, right? Through government schemes. Development of human resource, then land reforms, then infrastructure development. What is land reform, by the way? Land reforms means you have seen that in villages there are multiple problems, right? Problems like many people do not have agricultural land, so even if they have, there is a problem regarding division. So land reforms is important, right? Then infrastructure development, like in villages, they produce agricultural product, but they should have an infrastructure where they can sell those product, right? So that's infrastructure development. Again, this covers many aspects: schools, clean drinking water, electricity, many things, right? A special measure for alleviation of poverty through government schemes. Distributive justice and equalization of opportunities in the society. Everyone should be treated equal. Everyone should get equal opportunities. Everyone should get justice. Then involve people in planning and development, right? What people need at particular time. Every wish cannot be fulfilled at a particular time, right? Or so it should be planned accordingly, and people should have an opportunity to speak. Means they should be able to involve in the process of inclusive rural development through whom? Through Gram Panchayat, right? Then increase productivity in rural areas and reduce poverty, right? So those people who are employed into the, or who are directly doing the agriculture, farming, so once their productivity goes up, they can earn more and some amount of poverty will come down, right? So that is how it works. Then let's move ahead in our lecture and let's see some of the government schemes that by which the government is focusing to uplift and define inclusive rural development. That is Manrega, then Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kaushal Yojana, the National Social Assistance Program, Syama Prasad Mukherjee Urban Mission, then Sansad Adarsh Gramin Yojana, right? So these are not only the activities that government is doing, these are some of the activities by the government to help about inclusive rural development. Let's see each of them. Manrega 2005. So what is Manrega? Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. So this is an act, right? This is not a government scheme. So never say it a government scheme. This is an act passed by the Parliament in 2005. Aims at enhancing livelihood security of people in rural areas by guaranteeing 100 days wage employment in a financial year to rural household whose adult member at least 18 years of age volunteered to do unskilled work, right? Mostly they are doing the labor work. Then the central government bears the full cost of unskilled labor, 75% of the cost material and rest borne by the state government, okay? It is a demand driven social security and labor law that aims to enforce right to work, okay? Then Ministry of Rural Development. So who is implementing it? Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India, right? So again, the state government are into the association, else how would be possible? Then let's move ahead in the lecture. Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, right? It was launched in December 2000. Then for providing connectivity through a single all-weather road to eligible unconnected habitation as per core network with a population of 500% in plain areas and 250% above in states with difficult terrain, desert area, tribal and backward district, right? So this is important. Gram Sadak Yojana, I told you last mile connectivity, that is how government supports last mile connectivity. The program also provides for upgradation of the existing through route and major rural links under Ministry of Rural Development. Let's move ahead in the lecture. Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, National Rural Livelihood Mission, DAY NRLM, launched in 2011, aims at mobilizing rural poor households into self-help group, right, in a phased manner and provide them long-term support such as they diversify their livelihood, improve their incomes and quality of life. So what government is trying to do with this? They are making a cluster of 4 to 5 people and forming a SHG so that they can diversify their income, right? That is important for a sustainable income, right? Then the list of rural poor is also validated by participatory identification of the poor, which is further validated by the Gram Sabha. So it's not that the poor, the data is taken by the 2011 census, but that is again verified by the Gram Sabha as well. Again, this is by Ministry of Rural Development. Then Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, in the context of government's priority for housing for all by 2002, the erstwhile rural housing scheme has been restructured into PMAYG, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, which came into effect from 1st April 2016, right? PMAY Gramin aims to provide a Pakka house with basic amenity to houseless household and household living in Kacha house by 2020. So the target year is 2022 and that's housing for all, right? Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin. This is also under Ministry of Rural Development. Then Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kaushal Yojana, launched in 2011. It is a placement linked skill development program for wage employment. Skill development program. So it's not like giving, so the Manrega is unskilled job, right? But this is skill development. So I do not have a skill, government will take me, give me a skill, required a skill, then I will be employed. So that is how it works. Skill development through Rural Self-Employment and Training Institute enables a trainee to take bank credit and start his or her micro enterprise. Some such trainees may also seek regular salary job. Then this is also Ministry of Rural Development. Let's move ahead. National Social Assistance Program. Launched in 1995, National Social Assistance Program NASP is targeted any such person who has little or no regular means of subsistence for his or her sources. Basically, this is for people, this is supported by Article 41, right? I won't be discussing Article 41 here, but it is about people who cannot earn their livelihood, right? So maybe old people, maybe people who are very sick, maybe handicapped people and like that, like who do not earn anything, I mean who cannot earn anything. So financial support for those people identified by states. So National Social Assistance Program, again this is by Ministry of Social Development. You are understanding inclusive rural development, so including everyone is not only poor, the sick people, the handicapped people, the people who cannot work through government schemes. Then Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Rural Mission is focused on comprehensive development of 300 clusters spread across the country. This cluster identified in the rural area displaying potential for economic growth throughout the presence of their thematic livelihood activities, increasing population and non-farm employment, right? So a cluster will be created where there is potential for economic growth. This is again by the Ministry of Rural Development. Then Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana. It was launched in 2014 by the current government in its previous term with the objective of creating Adarsh Gram across the country. It is first phase 2014 to 19. The scheme called upon the members of parliament to make one gram panchayat of their choice a model village by 2016 and other by 2019. This was the first phase, right? Then from 2019, under the second phase of this scheme, each member of parliament will develop 5 model village, 1 per year in his or her area by 2024. The target was increased from 2 in 5 years to 1 per year, right? This is again by the Ministry of Rural Development. So this will be, so basically this is being adopted by each MP. So they will choose according to their will and wish, and they will develop it and as a model village. Now you have seen that everything is being done by Ministry of Rural Development. So let's see something about Ministry of Rural Development. The vision and mission of the ministry is sustainable and inclusive growth for rural India through a multi-pronged strategy for eradication of poverty by increasing livelihood opportunities, providing social safety net, and developing social infrastructure for growth. Basically, there are 2 departments: Department of Rural Development, Department of Land Resources. Because that is how, if you do not, resources mobilization is important. So where there is resources, there is an opportunity for development, right? That is how it works. So Ministry of Rural Development is the authority in our country to do all the activities related to rural development and achieve inclusive rural development, right? So there are many schemes that is being run by the ministry that we have, but some of the scheme that we have seen in last some slides, right? But is this enough? Absolutely not. If you see some global sustainable goals, right? So every goal you can connect it via the rural development. The first one is no poverty. Absolutely, we can connect zero hunger. We can connect good health and well-being. Right, so this is how quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitization, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, right? So these 17 goals are very important, right? So as you have seen in the current affairs of ours, Niti Aayog has just released the SDX index. So again, as sustainable development goals covers everything. So it's not only about rural development, it's about overall development. So when we say overall development, the rural development comes under the overall development, right? This is how it is done, right? So by this we have come to our end of the lecture, and before I say goodbye, please visit our website crackgradeb.com, where you will find our courses like RBI Grade B, SEBI Grade A, IRD Assistant Manager, NABARD Grade A and B, FSI Technical Officer and Central Food Safety Officer, and UPSC EPFO Enforcement Officer. So you will find it in the most economical price in the country. Then this is the upcoming examination that is coming, NABARD Grade A. We have covered extensively through research and through our last year's papers. The price of the course is just 2499, and then for NABARD Grade B including mocks is 3499. Both NABARD Grade A and NABARD Grade B covers the mock examination. Don't forget to subscribe this channel, because if you subscribe, you can get some quality content of NABARD Grade A and RBI Grade B, SEBI Grade A and rest of the examinations, right? With this, thank you and happy learning. Goodbye.